Musings. Hey gang, thought we'd do something a little bit different today on this little musings of mine. So there's been a little bit of drama in the community lately, and like in the last week or so, and it was over the skins that people could have on the ships. And while I'm not going to address that controversy directly, I did kind of want to come at it from the side and say that the way that CIG does their skins, I'm a huge backer of this game. To give an idea, I'm a Praetorian backer for this game, so I believe very strongly in this project. I love a lot of the things that CIG does. Unfortunately, the way that they handle skins feels just a hair predatory, and I'll kind of get into why. So first of all, when I talk about skins, I am talking about this. And so if you come down here and you select your ship, and hopefully I have a ship, you pull up your ship here eventually. There it goes. So you can sort of see that I have my Banded Defender as white. Normally they come default gold. You also kind of see that I've got all the other stuff on there, but if you click on paints and you have other ones, I'm at an outpost right now. I'm not, or at one of the Lagrange points. I'm not actually at my home base, but I would typically have like 3 or 4 other paints here. But it comes stock this way. So if I put the polar livery on there, it's mostly white with like black piping everywhere, and that's fine. I mean, it's black on the bottom, white on the top. It looks pretty cool, but I have no other option. If I wanted this to be red and black, can't have it. If I wanted it to be blue and white, can't have it. If I just wanted it to be pure black with no tertiary or secondary colors, can't have it. And that's always bothered me, and I'll get into why. So let's go to the CIG webpage, so hang tight. Alright, so if you're here on the CIG webpage, and you go up to the pledge store, which is right up here, which if you've never played Star System before, I have no idea how you found my little 100 sub channel, but welcome. Like and subscribe. But anyway, if you come up here to the pledge store, this is where you can obviously buy ships and stuff. So they got all their ships here. You can buy all the usual ones. You can look at all the other ships, which coming up in, man, probably about 15 days here, all of the ships are going to be on sale, which is going to be kind of cool. But and kind of creates artificial scarcity, which is another issue I have. But if you come over here under extras and you come down here to paints, you can look at these, and these are special paints. So your ship will normally come in like a default color or a default setting, like the Banded Defender that I was showing you. It comes in kind of this gold color. And it has a little bit of extra colors. But if you want anything else on your ship, you have to buy it separately. They do have some paints available in-game. Not all of them, but some of them. But the thing is that they're limited. So, for example, the Timberline paint is only this orange and that green. If you wanted it to be black and red, for example, it's green and it's orange, and that's it. And if you want the Frostbite, but you wanted it to be more like this Splinter paint that the Avenger has, like green and dark green and light green, you can't have that. You can have white as the primary color, gray as the secondary color, and the little black piping as a tertiary color. And that's it. You have to buy whatever the artist that set this up picked as those colors, and that's the same for all of these. Now the Redeemer actually has some cool paints. It sort of has this underworld paint that looks very Hurston-y to me, even though it's black and gold. They've got the Seraphim paint, which is all white. Yeah, I actually spent money on those. But the idea is that if you want a specific color for your org, or if you wanted something like the Cause of the Drama, like if you wanted a specific colors to for some event or some cause or something like that. You can't actually do that with this. CIG, some artist at CIG has to go in and say, okay, I'm going to make it this color, and this color, and this color, and that sort of thing. And the problem that I have with this is that it's artificial. And I'm going to get into why in a little bit. But first, I wanted to talk about this. So a while back on actually the old forums, when I first came over and started to play Star Citizen, from the time of the Kickstarter until it got out of the hangar module, I basically gave them money and then sort of said, okay, prove you can make the game. And then once they got it out of the hangar module and proved that they could turn CryEngine into a flight simulator or space flight simulator, I was like, okay, you got my attention. Now I'm going to jump in and start playing. At that point, I kind of jumped in, saw the way they were doing things, and the game that I was playing prior was another CryEngine based game called MechWarrior Online. And in that one, they have a much different way of getting skins. So I'll get to that too. But this was the suggestion I had here, was sell the patterns, not the colors. Now, this is a little bit misleading because I'm actually saying that they could sell certain colors too. But the idea would be that your ship comes with like a stock pattern on it. So, for example, if you were to come over here, the stock pattern for the Redeemer would be just this solid color here with like a secondary color around the turrets and sort of on the wings or something like that. You'd have a primary and a secondary color. And then you as a player, if you spent no money on it, it would probably come as like a default camo green or something like that. You know, something basic that people would probably want to switch off of, but they're not obligated to. And people would have or could purchase a bigger palette. So you could get like red, blue, green, orange, whatever, and then you can apply those colors to the secondary and the primary colors, and you can make the ship any color that you wanted, that you owned. The other advantage would be that you could lock certain patterns and certain colors not only behind a paywall, but you could put them behind a reputation wall. For example, if you did a bunch of missions for the Ninetales and you built up a good rep with them, you might get access to Ninetales Teal. And the only way that you could get that color is if you built up a big reputation with the Ninetales. So if other players in the game saw you running that color, they'd be like, wow, that guy must have worked with the Ninetales a lot, because you can't get that color anyplace else. And you can do the same thing with patterns. Like if you work for the Hurstons, you get a special pattern that goes on your ship that only Hurston ships and Hurston loyal ships have. And of course, you can lock certain patterns behind a paywall. But the thing is that the actual pattern would be locked. So this right here, you can sort of see that this Valencia paint is, there's a stripe here, and a stripe here, and the wings are kind of like color on top. So the black here would be the primary color, and this sort of metallic red would be the secondary color. But you would be able to pick any two colors you wanted to be those two colors. So you have the control. And so usually the blowback on this is CIG can't do that, it's too complicated. To which I say this, hang on.
So essentially the process kind of begins with,
this was 5 years ago.
We want to get these pre-configured schemes done. So you could, for example, go off and go, oh, you know what, I want a NASA themed kind of skin, or I want, you know, a District 9 themed skin, or I want a pink Hello Kitty themed skin. And then essentially, you know, we as artists create, well, basically they're material files. They're tiny in memory. They're so small that we can have like hundreds of them if we want to.
Hundreds.
Because they're all calling the same textures. That's what's done under the hood, okay? Once those material files are created and obviously named accordingly, and sanity check that the emblem is called emblem and the submaterial ID is called submaterial ID 1, 2, and 3, they have to be the same names. That's then handed to tech design to then kind of set that up with the loadout that they're putting together for that ship. Further forward, we want these kind of paint configurations to become hex codes. So if you're in like, you know, a guild of 20 players, and you know the clan leader said, all right, this is our paint scheme, there's going to be no like guessing work. Like you get the hex code, you put it in there, and it automatically will say, oh, you know what, you know, we've got matte black against yellow against pink, something crazy, and every ship in your fleet, you can put that hex code on and it will automatically go into that color configuration. So there's a lot of kind of cool things, and you know, as artists we do this stuff all day every day, and we were just like, you know, well, why wouldn't we give the end user this functionality?
Why wouldn't you?
That's the overall plan. There is a lot of kind of very things you have to be careful with when you're authoring the shaders for this stuff, so it can accommodate these options, but we're on top of that, and that's kind of, yeah, it's good. That's what we're doing on the initial kind of burst of ships right now. I think it's really cool, and it's really amazing to see. Like today, I just kind of caught up with the guys and looked at what we're working on for that stuff, and there's like a fleet of 50 ships, all with different skins, all with different loadouts, and it injects color into the game. You can have your kind of personal things going on, which is kind of cool. If I was going to pick one to fly and customize myself, I've always got a sweet spot for the Avenger. If it was me, I'd probably go for a dirty chrome kind of finish. The shape is just kind of so kind of primitive. To get some kind of highly reflective material on it, I think would just look super cool in space. So that's what I would go for.
So there you go. So what he was basically saying was exactly what I was saying, and basically exactly what I suggested in this. And I think this was something that I even suggested after watching that video. I had one post back in the old days, but that video is 5 years old. They've had this technology. And like I said, I came from MechWarrior Online, where that was the norm, where the graphics on MechWarrior Online. So I'm going to go ahead and show you MechWarrior Online right now. So this is MechWarrior Online. They do the same thing. You can buy a mech, and when you purchase it, you can buy skins that go with it, basically patterns that go with it. So hang on one second, I'm going to load up MechWarrior, which I have not logged into basically since I started playing Star Citizen, so it's been quite a few years, but we'll jump in, I'll show this to you. Okay, so here we are in MechWarrior Online. Here's my mech, it's a king crab. This is a special skin, this is a hero mech in this case. But again, I do have some control over the skin, so I'll go ahead and show that to you now. It has been a long time since I've been in this game. So you come down here, it's called Camo Spec. So you click that, and then you've got all of these camo patterns that are over on the side. So I'm just going to scroll through them and you can kind of see what it does. So I was a member of the, well, actually the leader of the 5th RCT of Clan Steiner. So we had the Steiner decal, which you could put on there. Decals are another animal. I'm just talking about skins. But let me go through. So this is the hero skin that's on here now. And my primary color is sort of a dark blue. The secondary color is black, and the tertiary color is white. So watch what happens. So I might only have 2 colors on this. Let's see. But as I go through, you can see. So this is a pattern here. So again, that could be pink and green, that could be red and black, that could be whatever you want it to be. It would just follow this pattern. Same thing here. Okay, so that actually shows it. So you can sort of see there's primary, secondary, and tertiary color. But again, I could set those colors to literally whatever I wanted to. And I mean, you can see they've got options here, but this is also easier for the artist, because rather than having to make something that's a specific color and go in and adjust it from there, they can just make these alpha channels. So they literally are making a pattern. They're not making the entire skin. And from that video, you can tell that they were certainly able to do this stuff years ago. And I mean, you can sort of see that it gives you a lot of variety here, and you have a lot of control over what this looks like. You can make the mech look the way that you want it to, and that personalizes it for you in a way that the skins that CIG is releasing don't. And so, hang on, we'll go back there. Okay, so we're back here, and that's what I'm getting at. I kind of wanted to show you that thing in MechWarrior because MechWarrior has the same skeleton that Star Citizen does. Even though Star Engine has been hacked apart and modded so much by CIG that it's practically a different engine, the skeleton is still CryEngine. But if MechWarrior Online can implement that system, so can Star Citizen. And I think that that would be a far less predatory way to sell these. This, every time I buy a paint, I feel a little dirty. And I never, ever felt that way with MechWarrior. Like, when I would buy the pattern that I'd want because I'd be like, oh, I could make that work with my mech because I could put in this color and this color and make it my own. With these, I'm kind of like, well, Timberline is kind of like what I'm looking for. It's similar to the colors of my org, so maybe, but I don't really like that green, and it doesn't really go with the orange. It's clashing, and we don't like things that clash. There's a few that kind of are getting close. So I mean, you've got the Carrick Stormbringer paint, which is it's cool, but that electric blue just isn't me. And someone at CIG loves it because they dump it on every single ship they make. And it's kind of like, why? If you just had this as alpha channels, so this black part here is the primary color, the blue is the secondary color, and this little white piping is the tertiary color, then I can make this thing black and crimson with white piping. Or I could make it white and black with blue piping. Or if I remember a test, I can make the whole thing black and yellow. So I just feel like CIG is dropping the ball on this. And I just really wish that they'd kind of get away from this gouging system. It's the only part of this game where I actually kind of feel ripped off, and I'm saying that as someone who is a Praetorian backer. That's really all I got for this one, guys, so thanks for hanging around, sticking around, listening to me. Let's hear your thoughts down below. Let's chat it out. I'm curious. I know I'm not the only one that thinks this way, but I'm kind of curious to hear other people's thoughts and opinions on it. So leave a comment down below if you liked what I had to say, like it if you didn't, downvote it, and subscribe if you want to hear more. See me next time.